a laugh.
Hey Kurt, this is Richard Wilson from Mad Shelley Films, and we have a message for you.
This is Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto Radio.
Wow. Okay, it's 7:02 p.m. The 26th March? Is it March? And, wow. So Love Boat, oh my God. I've been obsessed with watching this, okay? I'm on, what are we on now? Season 2, episode 8. And what's interesting is I've seen Mike Brady, I've seen the dad of Brady Bunch appear on here twice, but it's two different characters. And then there's this guy who was just in the last episode who's been on here twice, but playing different characters. Okay, so here are a couple of things, huge revelations that have come to me where, wow. Okay, so the most recent thing I saw, it was a woman writing out a letter. She's writing out a letter. And she puts, P.S., thank you for not smoking. And then she adds, P.P.S., thank you for not littering. It's so funny. I didn't realize, okay, so, because so funny. I sign P.S. a lot in emails and stuff. And then a lot of times I'll put P.P.S. I didn't realize till just now that it's from watching Love Boat long ago that I even actually learned what that was or how to do that. Another one was there's an episode where there's a diamond thief and they're showing, he's like, oh yeah, if it's a real diamond, it'll cut glass. And you end up finding out, it's the fake diamond because it ends up crumbling against the glass and it's not the real thing. And I realized, oh my God, that's another thing that I didn't realize that I knew, but I didn't know why I knew that. That was like one of those facts that I knew that a diamond cuts through glass, but I didn't know how I knew that. Well, now I know how I know that. Also, there's an episode where a lady calls a guy a chauvinist. I realized that's the first time I ever heard of what a chauvinist was. Chauvinist pig. That was the first time I ever heard that term. So it's funny, I'm watching these old episodes and I'm having these flashbacks of these times when I was a little kid. Last time I saw them, watching them with my mom and dad. It's really, really intriguing. So many really interesting adult themes. It all ties up with love at the end. There are no loose ties with love. It's so highly vibrational, this show. Wow. The people from Brady Bunch, Happy Days have been on there. The dude who's from Gomer Pyle. Vincent Price was just on. This is crazy too. Lindley, her last name is Lindley, and the Schreiber and Avery Schreiber. There are two theaters in town. There's the Avery Schreiber Theater and the Whitmore Lindley. And from watching this show, I'm going, oh my God, that's Avery Schreiber. That's Lindley. She's probably. One of the she's probably, instead of Whitmore, she's the Lindley. It's just like, it's intriguing. It's intriguing. Each episode is like, it ties up with such, and the wordplay is awesome. And it seems like they're starting to get bigger budgets for this season 2, because I was reading that they started actually shooting on an actual ship. Wow, Richard Dawson. That's funny. Robert Goulet. Juliet Mills. Soupy Sales. That was, oh my God. Loretta. Oh, I think she was from MASH. She was on a different episode too. Soupy Sales. Wow. That was my original name for Yachtly Crew was Sloopy Sales. Sloopy Sales. And then my name ended up becoming Stony Shores because I asked my dad, I'm like, Dad, give me, what would be a good name? But it's crazy. Okay, so Robert Goulet is going to show up on here. Willis from Different Strokes was on. Chachi from Happy Days, the mom, the dad, Potsy. Wow, it's just really intriguing seeing these folks on here. Some of these people who are comedians, some of these people are known for dramas, and then seeing the people who are used to being in dramas, being comedians, it's like to see the younger versions of these people now is incredible. And I'm wondering if maybe a lot of these people got their start on Love Boat. Like Epstein, maybe Welcome Back Kotter came out after Love Boat. I don't know. I still got to do my research on that. Wow. This is just so fascinating. So fascinating. Oh, another fascinating thing I learned. I was looking at my Anchor.fm dashboard. You could check out the analytics from whoever has been watching your or listening to your podcast. It's crazy. Because when you click, you can click like United States, and then all of a sudden it shows you all the different states that where your podcast is being listened. So you could go, oh, Colorado, okay, go into Colorado. Okay, now it'll show you the different towns that are listening to your podcast. Well, if you back out and you go to geographic location, if you click on it, there's a new thing now that they show. It shows you the percentage of where your podcast is being listened to on other planets. I mean, if I ever see even a 1% on Jupiter or something, it's like, how can they tell? That would be nuts if I end up having more Galactic Federation listeners than human being listeners. Either way, you're listening to this and you're somehow resonating with it. Thank you for listening to Inspirado Projecto, by the way. You're probably going to hear me geek out a lot about Love Boat because I'm going to keep... this is one of the things, the bigger budget. Okay, so I was reading was that they started actually shooting on Princess... What is it? Let's see. Princess Cruiser? No. Let's see. The something princess. The first season they didn't show guest stars' faces in the Lifesaver thing. Season 2, they do. Actually, there was one or two episodes where they showed the guest star faces within the Lifesaver thing. Oh, Pacific Princess. That's the name of it. The Pacific Princess. You know, it's so crazy because we play the Love Boat theme during Yachtly cruise shows at a certain point. And so it's interesting. I'm going to be viewing that experience very differently now. Very differently. Yeah, I'm going to be looking at it very differently now. But anyway, what I was reading was Love Boat started being shot on an actual ship. And then those who would ride, like you could actually book the cruise. You could actually book your cruise during the same time that the show was being filmed. So if you were on that ship, you would be an extra. So it's interesting because I read that. And now that I'm in season 2, I'm starting to see a lot more shots of the cruise liner out there in the ocean. Now it looks less like it's shot in a studio and more actually on the ship for sure. The camera angles, the lighting looks different. And you're seeing a lot more actual guest stars. So I don't know if this just means that they have more money or what. Bigger budget. But there are more people, more like tiny one-liner, folks that are coming in and, having their 2 cents in these episodes. So it's really quite exciting. And I can't wait to see what other revelations come to me. Because like I said, the last time I saw any of these episodes was when I was a little kid. And, you know, all these years have passed. This is the kind of cool stuff that just excites me. The kind of synchronicities, the epiphanies where you go, whoa, I didn't realize that I knew what I knew because of that specific thing. What? You know, and your mind just explodes. You're going, what the heck? I know this thing because of that show? Just mind-boggling.
Only one of those, I think.
So you saw two.
I've seen two myself. I tried to get a hitch ride for one of them, but they did not.
Come here.
I shit you not, man. They had no engine noise. It had like this. It looked like episode 5, the Star Wars, where it's like that triangle ship that they had.
Uh-huh.
No engine noise. It looked like that as far as the figure, but it had this weird like electro red pulsing thing around it. And it turned and moved without any engine noise and looked at me and my buddy Nick. Nick was there. Oh, wow. Tried to catch a fucking ride. It was 2 in the fucking morning at Macalavena on Beth's birthday, and this thing saw us, spotlighted us, and then went. Gone.
Dude, how far away was it? Would you say it as far as that? Is that like the ridge
About
up
that
there?
house is how it's close.
No way! And you saw it that close.
And it looked at us and then went, fuck no, and went with no engine noise.
And that was the first time you saw one?
That was the first time I saw one. The second one was just a bunch of lights and it came at me, and then I was like, that's not a fucking ship, dude. That's not. It's above the horizon, because I'm a sailor out in Alaska as well.
Whoa.
I'm telling my buddy, I'm like, that's not a ship. It's above the horizon. I can see it from here. And he's like, no, it's not. And as it's getting closer, I'm seeing it lift up more, and then I see it drop, like perceptibly, and I'm watching this light come through the water, and I'm like, what the fuck
my
is
God,
that, bro? And then it hits the island,
Whoa.
and I'm looking over the cliff like, where did it fucking go?
I remember hearing about that, how UFOs will travel underwater, but you actually witnessed it.
Yeah, and they've actually tracked fish. They put trackers on fish, and they see them. They go through the island. There's tubes that go all through that fucking island.
You know what's so crazy that you're bringing this up? Because there was that UFO sighting, I don't know, it was like 3 months ago. It was, I think it was in Oahu. It was a blue UFO, and it went down. It went into the water.
I heard of that one.
And the fact that you saw that same kind of thing happen. Oh,
absolutely.
look at, dude, check this out.
Malakai cargo.
Yeah, this is from that movie. The movie, the series of movies that guy puts out.
Yeah.
This is a fake cargo company.
Synchronicity,
Dude.
You really are, dude.
What's so crazy is this is that, like, in the show, these girls are like FBI agents, and this is the name of their fake company that they use. And so I looked it up online. I'm like, is this a real place? But it was like, oh no, it was fake. But someone made one on TeePublic, and I'm like, I gotta buy that. So today I decided to wear this, and he's from Hawaii,
Dude.
and I got my Dali mask. And she's got the Dali tattoo, and his name is Scruffy, and Scruffy we grew up with. And you saw UFO sightings in Hawaii, huh?
He wasn't gonna be here today.
I wasn't
had
gonna.
to
Really?
Find out he was gonna lay over in San Diego overnight.
I was gonna travel from. I was again across the border from Mexico, and I was gonna fly out of San Diego to San Francisco back to LA.
That's so
and
weird.
she said, no,
That's
why don't I just
crazy.
pick you up and we can skip the entire day of traveling, and you fly out at 6:50 from LA. And I was
Here
like,
we are.
yeah.
I am so happy you picked him up. I'm so glad that
It's
you said
unreal.
yes. And what's that tattoo on you? Is that the sacred geometry?
Yeah, I got
Oh, I love it.
Oh, it's really
Dude.
I got that from Erica Wedge in New Orleans in 2017.
beautiful.
Thank you.
These are great. And you're a big Dali fan, huh?
Are
Are you a surrealist? Do you paint or draw or any of that?
I draw, but it's realism, like portraits.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
But he's an inspiration.
Yeah, big
He's
time.
on me now, so forever. I almost, after I got his tattoo, I almost feel like, in a way, I'm like wed to him. Because I'm also reading his book, The Secret Life of Dali, that he wrote. Turns out he's a fucking psychopath. Really violent.
It's crazy because there's a whole other autobiography I read about him. I almost want to say it was called, I think they named it after one of his paintings. I want to say it was called Persistence of Memory or something. But that was like eons ago, and it was interesting because they were talking about that secret life of Dali, and they're like, okay, now here's where things get crazy. You know, is he embellishing about crazy things that happen in his life, or are these the real things? You know,
I mean,
And nobody else was
if
aware
you
of it.
keep reading, he even says that like it's really blurry for him what's real and what's not, because he like lives in his head. so much. It sounds like classic schizophrenia to me, but that's what makes him a genius. So.
Yeah, to be able to blend a dream and reality.
Between
exactly.
like, oh yeah, he's batshit, and that is the coolest thing I've seen today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was actually, I think, some study done between like schizophrenic people's brains and artists' brains, and the creative center that has like, they have a similar creative center where it's just like less inhibition. I mean, it's like the filter is kind of loose, so it just says do it.
I think that's
so
the thing.
Artists, creatives, and schizophrenics have that similarity. So no wonder.
Right,
But,
like there's no wall in between one.
Yeah, they think it,
personality and
and whereas normal people think of something and they're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
They don't. They just let it come through. no matter
right,
how weird.
non-filtered.
Yeah.
I was reading about how Dali would when he would fall asleep, it rang a bell or something, so he would stay in this constant state of like so sleepy, you know.
I
So
think
he was
it's
always
the-
like sleep painting.
It's a theta state. It's a theta state, which is similar to meditative states. And so what he would do is on his couch, he'd sit down and then he'd have like a spoon in his hand and a bowl under. And every time he'd doze off, the spoon would drop and he'd be like, oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So cool.
He's
So
doing
cool.
that in the in-between space of awake and asleep. That's where his inspiration
I
is.
love it. I love it.
So cool. I love him.
Absolutely.
So do you have an Instagram as well?
I do, but I'm not very active on it.
Okay.
Let's see what it is.
Or an email so I can contact you? Cause
Yeah, Scruff Jones with 3 F's at Gmail.
Simple
I love
He's a simple guy.
Old Scruff Jones.
Scruff Jones.
Delicious.
The Ballad of Old Scruff Jones.
Yeah, come on, man. I play guitar and bass too. I'm in a band
Dude,
called Roadside Bananas.
Roadside Bananas, of course you are. Oh my God.
It's good, man.
That's
It-
brilliant.
Great bass player.
Is it like out? Can people hear this music?
It's not quite. We don't have recorded songs, but we do have songs we play live. But mostly just on the Big Island. I don't go very far with the guys yet because I like staying out there. It boggles my mind to be in a city of this many people.
Oh yeah, he's so out
bet.
of his element. He was like, he's never been to LA.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
I've never been to LA.
Wow.
He's in LA for the first time.
Wow. Yeah, you're bringing him to a historic spot too, Mulholland Drive, baby. Holy cow, man!
Make
Have you
it
ever
work
seen
in
Mulholland
Chicago,
Drive by
so-
Lynch, David Lynch?
No?
Oh, well, this is that street that the movie was named after. Mulholland Drive, very mysterious, winding road.
It kind of, these like mountainous green parts remind me of the Big Island. It's nice.
Reminds you of what?
The Big Island.
Oh, the Big Island.
Yeah,
I
there's a lot
gotta
of
visit
huge,
that.
Yeah, there's a lot of huge gulches and gullies where they're going through, especially along the Humacula coast. It's absolutely serene and beautiful, and there's some kind of magic or mana on that island that's like, you find a reason to stay or find a reason to go.
I can't
Anybody
stay
who's-
away for too long. I
That's
always
what
go back.
I keep
Wow.
trying to say come back, and you're like, I don't think I would leave if I came back.
Right? I mean, I was there most of last year through like the whole quarantine pandemic shit, and I
Oh,
wanna
that's
go
a good
back,
place
but
to.
If I go
That's
back,
very
I'm not
good.
gonna come back to LA.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's
God.
Home here.
There's like, I don't know, 30 people who have the coronavirus
know.
on Big Island right now. I'd like to get back home.
30 people.
Well, maybe it has something to do with the nature that's out there. Just nature, just by being in nature all the time, being
It's like the
swimming in the
most
ocean,
They
being.
secluded-
tried to close the oceans, but nobody listened to them. they did, and then I remember seeing cops come out with full mask and full uniform, just glaring at everybody swimming.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what are you gonna do? We're
Yeah.
not getting out of the water now that you're here.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then they'll turn around and get in their car and be like, all right, yeah, there's a bunch of people swimming.
Yep, just what I thought. A bunch of people are swimming.
It's kind
Oh
of
my
a
God.
lawless place, the east side of the Big
Oh
Island.
my God.
There's like no
It's the Wild
law,
West.
really.
Really?
Yeah, they will
It's
body
just
people
jungle.
out there. They absolutely will. If you start fucking up and you start going around with no respect, and they'll fucking throw your ass in a hole and no one will find
But
you.
that's like the
Oh,
Hawaiian gangs. That's not just like
yeah.
Well, I was looking up folklore of Hawaii, and they're talking about the
Menehune.
Menehune.
Yes, these little, all the various kind of creatures. Have you seen any?
I've definitely had some experiences that I can only account to being Menehune, but I've never seen them.
Oh my
because
gosh, what
really-
happened?
I was in Pololu Valley and with a bunch of deer friends of mine, and I really had to take a shit.
Deer friends? Some people have squirrel friends. He's got deer friends.
I do. I got human friends too. I was like, all right, I gotta go take a shit, and so I walked back to the swamp. And,
I love
I started walking towards the swamp, and I started hearing like, "Hey, over here, check this out."
No.
What are you doing? And I'm like, stop. just stop, guys. And I'm like, I really gotta go to. And by the time that I went to the spots, I was like, all right, this is where I was gonna shit. I don't have to shit anymore because there's somebody fucking whistling at me.
They scared the shit back in you. You know, usually people get this shit scared out of them.
That can be...
So you heard he scared the shit in you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you heard the little hey, hoo, hoo. You heard these little creatures
like,
out there?
It would come from like over here, and then
Oh
it would
my
come
God.
from behind me, and then it would come from my right, and then it would come from right there, and then sometimes it would come from like literally right behind me, like a wrestling. Or
oh
some
my
shit.
God.
And, like they're just fucking with you, like a leprechaun. And it's funny how a lot of native cultures have a story of little pigmy pranksters that are a little bit more like pixie rather than fairy. They're like, we are going to be mean and not and malevolent rather than playing like kind jokes on you. It's like, oh, ha ha ha, and they're like, no, I'm gonna kick you in the knees, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck? That's that same story of the Menehune is they're very much like a leprechaun, where they will do really mischievous and sometimes hurtful things to you.
Oh my God.
Just to mislead.
I hear you just don't want to mess with those guys, really.
Exactly. You don't say their name after night, and you don't whistle at dark.
Oh boy. Wow.
That's the folklore tales. If you whistle or if you say their name after dark, that invites them.
Oh God.
Yeah, and that they'll come.
That's incredible. Has anyone ever dared to make movies about those little creatures, or are they just terrified that they'll be like forever haunted by them?
I don't know very much about film or pop culture. I stayed rather out of the loop for most of my life, but I'd be curious to know if somebody has.
But
That's
like,
incredible.
There's like a whole Menehune brand too. Like the water bottles have.
Oh yeah, they got Menehune water.
Oh my
They're, like,
God.
Scared of them, but they respect.
It's definitely a level of respect. And less understanding, more respect. Like, yeah, we don't know why it does that, but we let it do that.
Wow. So between those little creatures and the UFOs, all is right with the world in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, the largest military
Pele.
installation disguised as a vacation destination.
Wow.
But like the spirit of Pele is for sure present.
I heard that something happens if you got pork in your car and you drive past Pele, like it all comes out spoiled or something. Do you know about that?
No, I've never heard about that.
Because I guess there was some god that Pele had some issue with that was like a pig kind of god.
Yeah, turned him into the pigfish.
Oh, interesting.
And if anybody has a pork, Pele thinks that you're trying to sneak this pig god like into its domain or something. This is all just. I mean, I went deep down the rabbit hole trying to figure out about this.
I remember the pig god got turned into a fish, and he's got the longest fucking name out of any fish in Hawaiian. You can Google the pig-nosed fish, and that'll come up. But
And then there's certain flowers too. That like one of them lives up in the mountain and one of them lives near the beach. They used to be two lovers that were split apart because of some kind of.
And if you pick the flowers, she will curse you.
Oh my God!
If they fall, you can pick them up. That's fine. But if you pick them off of a tree, she'll curse you, and your love will leave you.
If you take lava off the island, apparently you'll.
Whoa!
If you take Pele's children off the island, she will make it bad luck.
Oh my God!
That actually turns out to be a folklore driven by the people at Volcano National Park, so much to the point that. That's
so no one would steal.
Yes.
Steal the lava.
But also, they have a lot of respect for the Aina, the island, and it's like just don't take it.
Absolutely.
It's like mostly out of respect.
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe you're cursed, then you're cursed.
That's the whole thing. Is curses only have power if you believe them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
There's so many. I highly recommend it. If
Thanks.
you go, I mean, it's the big island, but it's like.
I think this is a sign that I absolutely have got to go out and visit because I've just been thinking. I'm like, okay, I really want to see this. I've been watching these old Fantasy Island reruns and stuff, and Love Boat. I've been getting obsessed with these old Love Boat reruns. You know, so it's just that vibe of like out there in the sea.
15 out of 10. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Again, you'll find a reason to stay, or you'll find a reason to go.
You'll probably.
Wow.
I've seen it. Just like it's the only that in Alaska, the only two places that I've ever been judged by the quality of the character that I am, rather than what I look like.
I love it.
I've hitchhiked across 46 states in this universe.
Whoa.
The only two places that have ever been like not looking at me like some ramshackle son of a bitch and just like, so why are you here, bro? It's been Hawaii and Alaska. And I've seen some crazy shit in both of those states, and the crazier than out here, man. Even though out here there's just a lot of people, and it starts dragging on my psyche. But other than that, highly recommend.
Dude,
Definitely
that's
get to
Go
know
out and check it out.
like people that live there, because they'll tell you about all the great spots. It's a small island. It's 2.5 hours.
Small big
across,
island.
but it's
Wow.
a big island. But yeah, stay in touch with Scruffy if you want to show you around.
This is good.
I got a lifted Toyota truck on the island. It's got one giant golden skull on the front.
Wow.
fucking steals
One
anything.
giant golden skull.
It's a piggy bank. It was given to me in 2019
That's
for
a
Christmas.
piggy bank?
Yes, it's a piggy bank.
That's awesome.
Paige gave that to me. I don't know if you know Paige.
The golden skull.
She's got a picture
Yeah, I
of
was
it.
just showing him. I was like,
She's like, oh yeah, I took this picture when you tried to help.
Oh, you took a picture of the golden skull?
you can spy it anywhere on the streets. It's him.
Yeah, you can see it.
I
I'm the
love
only
it.
truck out there.
You gotta be kidding me. I love it,
So
man.
cool.
That's great.
That's awesome.
You didn't even. I now have a
Oh
ram
my
guard
God.
in front of that. I got a
that's
cop
dope.
bumper on the front
I
of that
love
truck
your
now.
car.
So nobody-
Oh, that's great.
So
Oh,
I
that's
gotta-
great.
If anybody, I can get real militant on you.
We need a 4-wheel drive car if you go there, because there's like not.
That's the way you'll see the real island.
Yeah. Just make
If you
friends
get
with
something
people.
that goes off the road.
Oh.
Cars. They have a word there called punified.
Oh yeah.
Cars don't last there. It rains
Yeah,
a lot
it's like-
and just destroys.
they
You
get
you
rusted
like
out and-
hoopties or beaters and shit like that, but it's like you get a car out there that is like a hoopty, and that thing will become punified in 2 weeks unless you're in there. And what I mean by that is like you'll have mold like that thick growing on the
What?
interior because it's a rainforest. It's all wet out there, so you got.
So what do you do for a car that
You live in
like
it,
to?
or you continue to operate and clean it.
Oh my
Vinegar.
God.
Otherwise, it will die in the jungle. She will reclaim it.
Dehumidifiers.
Silica packets.
Yes.
That's the way. What you get inside of those beef jerky thingies, or
Yeah.
nori. Yeah,
But,
it
like,
sucks
there's so
oxygen out of the
much,
air
like, there's
or water.
almost no point. The silica packets are good for like your pantry and putting.
Yeah, or your
salt.
laundry. Like your laundry basket, that's what I keep them in my
Dude.
guitar case. So-
Everything is moldy there. Clothes, everyone's blankets, everyone's
Oh my
cars,
God.
everything.
Yeah,
Pillows.
Everything is
Going
moldy.
down to Baja California
Yeah.
was really nice because I was like, wow, I can actually dry out my blankets
Oh
that
my
I
God.
brought. I set them out in the sun, and it took
It's
up.
just a great place.
I love it. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else in this world, honestly. Again,
Yeah.
traveled to 46 states by my thumb, and I was like, the only place that I really felt like home was Hawaii. The only places that really accepted me for who I was Alaska and Hawaii.
Wow.
Everybody else seems to judge.
Yeah.
Not to say that
especially
everybody
LA.
does, but
Yeah.
the majority of the United States is very appearance-based in how they view people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you look like you make money, or you look like something, that's what you are.
You're in the
Yeah.
capital of it, baby.
I was
I
gonna
know.
say, especially in California.
Yep.
Yeah, they can suck my nuts.
But the people who know
I'm
you
going back
know
up
you.
fishing in Alaska this summer. They don't need to know about that. Oh,
Well, you guys, it was a pleasure meeting you. Jenny and I probably should go check out some nature
Yeah,
here.
he's gotta
She's
be
got to
going
run
to
off
the
to work
airport.
I
soon.
do
but-
have to make it. To
Oh
the
my
airport.
God. You guys got to bust out of here? Hey, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Seriously.
This
Yeah,
is
it was
so
a pleasure
fun.
to
Yeah,
meet you.
This is so kick-ass, you guys.
Meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Jenny?
Meeting you, yeah.
Pleasure to meet you. Y'all have a good day. Be safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Be whale, my two favorite animals. Whale.
Be whale. Bee and whale. Be whale. That's incredible. Wow. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Oh my God. So many synchronicities. Oh my God. That's nuts. Of course I'm wearing this t-shirt today. Oh my God. We just decided at the last minute to go out here.
Yeah.
To this, and you picked this specific spot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow, man. Wow. Scruffy. Oh my God. What's interesting, her Instagram name is Euphoria, Y-O-U-Phoria, and that's how I like to spell universe, Y-O-U-N-I-V-E-R-S-E. There's so many little commonalities. Wow, so many little commonalities with those two. That Dali tattoo, that was crazy.
Here's your fun fact. Harrison Ford almost wasn't Han Solo. Burt Reynolds was among the top contenders to play Han Solo, along with Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, and Christopher Walken. Wow. They picked the right one as far as I'm concerned. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
Geez, I am just blown away by that last segment. Whew, all the synchronicities that were involved. Right now it's 1:39 p.m. Today's the day after that day. Today's the 28th. And I'm on my way up to the store right now. Gotta go get some new products. Some new feud products. And now a really big shoe. Oh, this is so funny. So my the Yachtly Crew guys told me about this face swap app called Impressions app. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I could back out of this and take a look at this. I think it's called Impressions app. Yeah. And it's got a bunch of different... There's a free version and then there's a paid version. The free version, it shows you all these different celebrity faces that you can choose from. And it gives you about 8 seconds to try it out each time, to put all these watermarks on it. You can pay for it, and I'm pretty sure they wipe away those watermarks. But one of those guys in there was Jack Nicholson, and I've done the Jack Nicholson impression around the Yachtly Crew guys before. And one of them goes, "Oh, dude, you ought to do a Jack Nicholson impression and have him do a promo for the Yachtly Crew show." And I thought, oh my God, that's incredible. So I did one for April 23rd, which is going to be coming up at the Pala Casino in Arizona. And then let's see. I think there's March, April. I think May? I think there's something coming up in May, too. May 3rd? Oh, yeah, concerts in your car. That's what it is, concerts in your car. Where it's going to be another drive-in show. So get ready for a lot more podcasts concerning behind-the-scenes hijinks with Yachtly Crew. Also, I've got episodes that are just... I've got episodes that are just waiting to emerge, that just require some editing. And so once I edit those, then what I'll do is I'll make sure to upload those onto Anchor. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. As you know, I've been addicted to watching Love Boat episodes, and it's so crazy because there's so many revelations that are happening in that show. Like I told you, there's certain things that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I know about that, or that's why I know about that. And there's one where the guy, J.J. Walker, is that his name, from Good Times? He's on the show twice, but the second time he's on the show, he plays a ghost. Actually, I thought it was really cool to see Love Boat get more into a supernatural area. You can see that they have a bigger budget now. You start seeing a lot more extras. There are a lot more bit parts. Really intriguing. So I've been doing that. I've been uploading Kapow Q&As for Filmocracy. Those take some time. I got to put titles on there. There's that opening animation that Ryan made, which is really cool. So I got to put that on there. And then titles and all that razzmatazz. And then, so that takes a certain amount of time to render. And then, and export. And then another certain amount of time, write down all the stuff, upload it to YouTube. So many little details involved. And then you include that. You go, zip, hook that into a playlist. So then you have a playlist of those Q&As. And then it just makes it good and easy. I saw the first episode of Invincible, that comic book show. It's adult oriented. I mean as far as I haven't seen any sex scenes, but I mean adult oriented in terms of there's some language in there, you know. But I'm pretty sure pretty much every 7th or 8th grader starts picking up picking up those words, and then you just using them all the time. Do you ever notice that once you started learning what these swear words were, or once you felt that freedom of saying these particular adult words when you weren't around your parents or other adults, and you just went haywire with it? It's like, whoa, it's like a new toy. F this, F that, but there's some. I think the mom calls the son an a-hole or something in the show, because the kid's just being a jerk. But it's really. The other thing that I wanted to say was that what's sort of adult about it is that there's some blood and guts on this show. There's a rickety feeling. I think we tend to like stuff that has a rickety aspect to it, because we're hoping. I think secretly we're hoping that things are going to get balanced in some way. And I can just tell that that's a show that's going to be addictive. And I got other stuff that I got to put together. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's that feeling of that, that knock in my noggin saying, hey, can you saying, there's a very confused group of people here trying to park. They're acting very strange, very weird, very slow. I will... I'll talk to you more later. Oh my gosh, this person. What is going on? I understand throwing caution to the wind, but now she's throwing it to the trees and the... and the land and the oceans. My goodness, she's throwing caution everywhere. Okay, we will talk more later. It's now 6:40 p.m. Today is, I think this is March 30th, I think. Yeah, March 30th. Oh my God. I've been having so much fun with this app that the Yachtly Crew guys that Chaz Ruiz, a.k.a. Baba Booey, told me all about. Oh my God, this impression app allows me to go through it. They have a certain amount of choices, and it's a bunch of faces, and you can loop, scroll on down. Find a face. You get about 9 seconds. You can do 4 of them every 2 hours. So what's been happening is if you buy the paid version, I think you get up to 20 seconds. What you do is you record your face on there first, and then the app maps your face. It attaches it to your face. It's really incredible. So Lawrence August and songwriting buddy, who's with the music group Zelzah, Zelzah. Check them out on iTunes. Also, Spotify and Instagram. You can hear bits and pieces of them. And also I'm in a project with him called Wishing to Float, WTF. This, believe it or not, we invented that band, WTF, because he thought, wow, that's so great, Wishing to Float. That will be a great, just shorthand thing, WTF. And then shortly after that, the group LMFAO emerged, which is interesting because Yachtly Crew ended up playing Red Foo's girlfriend's birthday party on his in his tennis court. They built a stage. And It's so interesting. So interesting how things wrap around, huh? So he wrote, I know what it was. We were in our text messages. He said, "Oh, I want to see a scene between Christopher Walken, Jack Nicholson, and Vinnie Barbarino." I said, "Okay, write one up and I'll do it." And so he wrote it up, and I did it. And then he wrote up another, and then he's like, "Oh, I got another new one." And then he wrote up another one, and so then I did that. And so it's fun because these are like 30-second sitcoms. It's so much fun. And I'm learning the art of pre-thought, if that makes sense. The characters' interactions to each other, where the other characters are looking when they're talking. It's really, really, it's a lot of fun. It's funny because I never was, I don't think I ever really have done a great Christopher Walken impression. But when he said that, I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. We'll try. I'm still figuring out the nuances. But the other ones I got down pretty good, and they're up on TikTok. So if you got TikTok, I would love to see on there. TikTok.com/ then the @ Inspirado Projecto. One word, Inspirado Projecto. If you have TikTok, just go to Inspirado Projecto. Projecto, one word, one long word. And you can see, I don't know how many I got up there, but it's quite a fever. Once you start creating, it's it just becomes so exciting, so fun. It's so fun. It's crazy to think that you can make these things between, 1 second, 2 seconds, and a minute. I just thought of something. How interesting would that be is if you record an entire movie and then you speed it up, you crunch it down. And so it's like oh my God, wouldn't that be funny if you squash it down to like 5 seconds? Like Lord of the Rings, the first movie, squash it down to 5 seconds. So everything is speeding through. You take out the audio, but everything is speeding through. You're able to get an entire 3-hour movie in 5 seconds. Oh my God, that would be hilarious. That could be like a whole new art form. Wow. It's so amazing when we think about the kinds of care, consideration, respect that we give to certain organizations, to certain things, because they, they either have a name for themselves, or it looks like other people are following it, or other people are quoting it a lot. It's really interesting how that works. Really interesting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you got TikTok, I would love to see on there. Also, if you want to send me a message, I would love to hear your message. You can send it to inspiratoprojecto@gmail.com. That is the official gmail.com. You send it there. I could put your audio on here. In fact, you'll hear some audio from some folks on here. If you go to anchor.fm/Inspirado you can leave me a voice message. You could call the hotline. Here we go. This is the hotline. 561-203-9179er. Call up the hotline, 561-203-9179er. And you just call the voicemail. Leave a message on there. And I'll put it onto the podcast. By the way, Yachtly Crew is playing April 23rd. Already, we got the end of the March here, huh? This is crazy. April 23rd. And Pala Casino. And then May 3rd, we're playing at the Concerts in Your Car. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. I love the theater around aspect. That's always a blast. For those things, you need to drink lots of water. Lots and lots of water. Anyway, without further ado, and definitely without further ado, I'm going to present to you a message here. And I believe it's... let's bring one in from Man Behind the Machine. Let's see what he has to say.
Inspirado, what was your first video game console and what year?
I remember the first time I saw a video game, my Aunt Gloria had gotten the system that had Pong on it. And it had two controllers that were just dials, and you'd spin it left or right, and then that would enable you to move your little boop, 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 your little thing up or down. I remember her bringing it over, and I was having a blast. It was so fun, so amazing. That simplicity. Mine was Atari 2600. I don't know how he talked my dad into that, where he got that idea. We were always like years behind in technology. We usually waited till everybody else got technology, and then we'd usually get last year's versions of stuff because it was less expensive and all the bugs were worked out. Still just as good. Otherwise, it would not have been made in the first place, you know? And I loved that Atari 2600. I had friends who had Nintendo, so I'd go over there and play. Some of my friends had different Atari games than me. For instance, I had a friend named Monte Dox. What a cool name, Monte Dox. He was my little buddy in probably, I want to say 4th grade, maybe. I remember we would read Old Yeller. He was so funny, this little black kid. He would just burp really loud. And I remember how upset my teacher, Mrs. Dirk. That's right, Mrs. Dirk. I think that's what her name was. I think it was that, unless it was a different teacher. Anyway, I think he was in. Yeah, was he in? No, was that a different? Anyway. Monte would read Old Yeller all the time, and she'd be like, "Monte, stop reading Old Yeller. We're on this mission. We're on this assignment now." He was just such a smiley, funny guy. And on the weekends, he would ride his bike over, just completely unannounced. He would arrive at the house with his bag of Atari cartridges. He'd go, "Hey, I thought maybe you'd want to trade," and I'd be like, "Yeah, let's do that." And then I'd find some cartridges, then he'd trade, and I'd trade, and I'd get them back, and I'd go over there, and I'd get my cartridges back. I bring his back, and then bring him new ones to trade, and we were always trading. We had so much fun with Atari 2600. I remember Berserk. That was such a funny. I tried to visualize the stuff that I'd see on the cartridge. The art that was on these cartridges. I would envision those things as being those little pixels that were running around and shooting at me. And combat, remember, with the tank and the airplanes, and you could have like with the tanks. That was fun because you could shoot these cannonballs that go bump, 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 and bounce all over the place. Oh my God. There's a kid who grew up down a block. I think he had, let's see. Did he have Intellivision? I want to say he had Intellivision. There's a B-52 bomber game. It was a really big deal because apparently it was the first game that talked, unless it was missile. But I want to say it was B-52 bomber. It was like rah 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 rah. It kind of had the voice, speak and spell. It had kind of like that, speak and spell. You are now dropping a missile. Target exploded. Target exploded. Or whatever it said. And I just remember being fascinated by the fact that this thing was talking. And I had another friend who had ColecoVision, and on there was Donkey Kong Jr. I love going in there and playing it. My other buddy, Tom Lally, I went to elementary school with him, and he usually would come over for a short while, and then I'd go over to his house and hang out, and he had Popeye. I loved that game. I don't think his parents let him lend out any of the games. I think I wanted to borrow it. I don't think his parents let him lend out anything. I mean, naturally, kids forget. Sometimes we still forget to get stuff back that we lent out. Which reminds me, I lent out a Mad Magazine, the History of Mad Magazine book to Ryan McGonigal, which I've got to get back. He's scanning all the pages to make a PDF of the book. Phenomenal book. So good. So good. So good. So good. But Atari 2600, that was the first one I had. I had E.T., I had Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, those two games just blew my mind. Blew my mind. I never beat those. They felt like such high concept games, and I don't think there's really an instruction booklet. I think there was one. I think it was just simple things like, press the button to use your whip. Because I think that's what it was. The teasty flies would come around. There'd be like a swarm of these teasty flies. You have to whip them, get past them. If not, they would drag you down, and then they would throw you into this strange sort of chamber. Oh, man. Indiana Jones. Wow. E.T. See, this is making me want to watch YouTube to see if there's a playthrough of either of those games, if anyone's ever gotten past them. Atari 2600. What was yours, man behind the machine? What was yours?
Kurt, it is Maria from Strong Body, Strong Soul, and I just wanted to thank you so very much for agreeing to be a moderator on that gigantic Facebook group for podcasters, Podcast Promotion Community. Those three terms are so essential. It's a group of podcasters that are creating a promotion space and a community so that all of Facebook can see our posts. The whole idea is to get everybody's shows more visibility. And Kurt, I know you are so busy, and I appreciate any energy you put over there. I just wanted to give a shout out, a message here to invite your listeners. If anybody is interested in joining, they are welcome. Podcast creators, listeners, so that you can interact with podcasters if you're thinking about starting a podcast or if you just like to listen. Also, interviewees are in there from around the world. It's amazing.
Thank you, Maria, for interviewing me for it. I'm so happy to be a part of it, and I'm excited to see how things emerge in that community and the ways in which podcasters interact with each other and interview each other within the community. It's every podcaster needs content, and I think especially for those podcasters who are just starting out too, this is a huge question that we always hear with the podcasters that are just starting out. I want to do a podcast. What should it be about? And as you and I have discussed, Maria, it's simply put, make your podcast about what you love. That way there's no effort. It doesn't have to be an effort. It doesn't have to be a forcing like, oh, everybody, I need all these people to love me. Just if you got listeners and people love you, concentrate on those folks who love you. It grows. It's a byproduct of what happens when you put love, appreciation, gratitude into the momentum of what's already been built. Just keep feeding the fuel, just keep feeding it into the path that's being carved. And it all turns out great. And I think those who are starting out, I think this is a perfect opportunity for them, yes, of course, to connect with other podcasters. And in addition to that, get content for their podcast, because they could go in there and they can interview each other and find out all these brand new things, because every single person is an entire universe of information. Every single person knows some sort of a knowledge that we do not know. Whether it's crocheting, whether it is mowing the lawn, whether it is changing light bulbs. Maybe there's a very effective way of changing light bulbs that someone out there knows. That's intriguing. This is stuff that helps. I remember seeing something, what was it? It was a YouTube channel. I think this woman was which I don't know how this truly works. I'm sure there are certain sects that allow you to use electronics, but the it starts with A. The community. You know those communities that oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. The community of the people and they live. They have the carriages. They have the carriages. Oh, it's right on the edge. The starts with an A, I think. The Amish. The Amish. There was a woman who I saw on YouTube. She was showing you something very simple, how to wash your dishes. And instead of just scrubbing one utensil at a time, you put 3 or 4 of them in your hand at a time. And that's a little faster, more effective, more efficient. Simple things like that. And you just dive deeply into that and go as far as you can. And people love talking about what they know. I mean, listen to me. I'm talking about what I know. What do I know? What do I know? That would actually be a great podcast if you think about a good subject for a podcast. What do I know? And you go up and you ask people, what do you know? Huh? What do I know? Yeah, what do you know? What do I know? What do you know? What do they know? Well, I know this about cats. Okay, tell me more. Tell me all the information you know about cats. Someone else might know a lot about magic. Everyone has something. And it's funny because a lot of us don't realize that the knowledge that we have is, to someone else, that's intriguing. To us, it's no big deal because we're the ones who are living in it. We're used to it. Anyway, please, folks, join the community. A lot of wonderful people are there. With Maria spearheading the project, you're in safe hands. You are in safe hands. Smooth sailing.
Inspirado, do you use any smartwatches like the Apple Watch? What do you think about that? Have you tried it before? Even if you don't have it, have you tried it? Tether it to a phone? What do you think about smartwatches?
Man behind the machine. Man behind the machine. I do have a smartwatch. My buddy sent it to me. It's called a Wear Fit. And it's fun looking at it to see. I have to keep remembering to charge it. have to keep remembering to charge it. But I love seeing the amount of steps I walk. I'm constantly checking my immunity. It's great. Checks your temperature. Let's see. Yeah. kcal. How many calories did you burn? Beats per minute. What is this? MMHG. Not sure what that is. SpO2. But it's really intriguing. And yeah. I have a smartwatch. Do you have a smartwatch? This is Dick Tracy days. I know on those Apple Watches, people can just talk into it. Just like Dick Tracy, man. Sci-fi is incredible, isn't it? I think you and I have talked about this. It's just absolutely mind explosive. Kitty. That, things like sci-fi, those are predictions. Those are prophecies. Those were visions that they wrote down, that they saw of the future, and then it came to be. It came to pass. And here we are now, living in the future. Living in the future. Future. Yeah, do you have a smartwatch? Oh, by the way, my immunity is 76%. I just thought I'd let you know. I know you were very curious about that, so I had to share it with you.
This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto.
Got a light?